Hello, YouTube family and friends. How is everybody this evening? I'm doing fine. I hope you are too. Welcome back, or if you're new, just welcome. My name is Texas Beach Mom or Mama Robin, whichever you prefer. And it is Friday night. Not Friday Night Live. I haven't done a live in a while. Got a wonky computer and 2 cell phones. So as soon as I can afford to buy another computer, which I'm looking at buying one in September. I should have enough money for the one I want in September. But in the meantime, what I had to do tonight was get the information for this video on one phone, and I'm recording the video on another phone. Just bear with me. Anyhow, because it is Friday night, and I've been promising to go back to Lady Bird Lake, that is where we're going tonight. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel or new to this case, Lady Bird Lake is a lake in Austin, Texas. We're 18, well, the total number is much higher than 18, but just in the last 2.5 years, 18 men have drowned in Lady Bird Lake. That's a lot in a 2.5 year span. The police are saying that's accidental drownings. Some of them might be. Most of them are not. There's been many interviews with family members that were with these people previous to them disappearing. These people, in most cases, have only had one beer or only had a couple beers. These are college-age men, or not necessarily college-age. I'd say the average age is between 25 and 35. Most of them are Hispanic or look Hispanic. Not all of them, but most of them. Most of them are athletic. They're built, they're strong, they're young men. And in most cases, in some cases they've drank too much, but in most cases they haven't. And then one night they're with a group, and then a few minutes later they've disappeared from the group, and then a day or two later they show up in the lake. 18 men in 2.5 years is a long time. And Austin police keep saying, no, it's an accident. These are accidental drownings. And it's not just happening in Austin, Texas. It's happening in various lakes, various cities, and other states. Illinois, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, New York, Nashville. That's the ones I can think of off the top of my head that are starting to see spikes and drownings, and it's always men. It's almost always men. They're almost always between 25 and 35. They're almost always Hispanic or look Hispanic, and they're almost always athletic, have an athletic build. So, I'm kind of doing a, whoops, I dropped the phone. I'm kind of doing a recap tonight. I'm sorry, the phone's all over the place. My bad. I'm trying to do a recap for people that are new to my channel or new to this case, and the cases like it. So I'll be reading off one phone while I record on the other phone. Okay. The murky waters of Lady Bird Lake, a deep dive into drowning incidents, regional patterns, and the Rainy Street Ripper theory. I know, I might be looking away. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can bring it closer so I can kind of hold them both up and look. The serene surface of Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas. Belies a darker narrative of reoccurring drowning deaths that have captivated and concerned the community for years. While local authorities largely attribute tragedies to these tragedies to accidental drownings, often linked to alcohol and proximity of the water, a persistent and pervasive theory of a serial killer has taken root, fueled by a cluster of similar cases and a sense of unease among residents. I will explore the circumstances surrounding the Lady Bird Lake drownings, draw parallels to similar clusters of water-related deaths in the other states, and ultimately examine the various theories, particularly the Rainy Street Ripper, in an attempt to explain these unsettling occurrences. Rainy Street Ripper is kind of the nickname that's been given to whoever's doing these, and there's all kinds of theories about who's doing it, because it just doesn't make sense that 18 men are coming up dead in a 2.5 year time span. As I've said before in other videos, if you're at the lake, you're typically not there in the middle of the night, but if you are out there late after dark, you're drinking, you're probably with friends. Friends will hear you fall in, we would hope. Even if there's music playing, I can even get how a few of those would happen in a year or two, but not 18. But anyway, I continue. The Lady Bird Lake phenomenon, a pattern emerges. Historically, bodies have been recovered from Lady Bird Lake, formerly known as Town Lake, since its inception. However, a significant uptick in deaths, particularly in 2022, has drawn widespread media attention and public scrutiny. In 2022, 6 male bodies were found, followed by 5 more in early 2023. While the Austin Police Department maintains a vast majority of these deaths are not suspicious and involve factors such as mental illness, substance abuse, medical issues, or accidental drownings due to intoxication, the similarities among many of these victims have raised red flags for many. The reoccurring theme among these recent clusters of victims are the predominantly young to middle-aged males, often seen on or near Rainy Street, which is a popular nightlife district close to the lake. Many were reported missing after a night out with friends, and their bodies were subsequently discovered in the water. While toxicology reports often indicate alcohol in their systems, the circumstances surrounding how they entered the water remain largely unconfirmed by official reports. This lack of definitive answers has created a vacuum, quickly filled by public speculation and alternative explanations. Echoes of other waters, the smiley face killer theory. The anxiety surrounding the Lady Bird Lake drownings find parallels in similar clusters of water-related deaths that have occurred in other parts of the United States, most notably the associated with the smiley face killer theory. The theory, which has gained traction in the Midwest and northeastern United States, began in the late 1990s that a serial killer or group of killers is responsible for the drowning deaths of numerous young men, often college age, who were last seen leaving the bars after heavy drinking. And again, that's not correct. At least in Austin, Texas case, they were drinking. They had a beer or two, maybe 3. To me, my mind, that's not heavy drinking, especially if you're 25 years old, you're athletic, you go out drinking with your college friends every weekend. That's not heavy drinking. Proponents of the smiley face killer theory point to alleged similarities in victims' profiles, the discovery of smiley face graffiti near some crime scenes, though this connection is often disputed by law enforcement, and claims of date rape drugs being used. While official investigations in these cases have largely concluded the accidental drownings, often exacerbated by alcohol, other citizen detectives and some families continue to believe a more sinister explanation. The consistent dismissal of foul play by authorities in these cases, despite public and familial concerns, mirrors the situation in Austin and contributes to a sense of distrust. We're told, before the investigation even starts, people are told, oh no, it was an accidental drowning, before they have a chance to investigate or anything else. It's an accidental drowning. Bullshit. For example, in La Crosse, Wisconsin, a series of college students' drownings in the Mississippi River between 1997 and 2006 led to similar serial killer speculation. Despite these theories, an FBI report ultimately concluded the extensive drinking combined with proximity to the river were primary factors. However, the persistent questions and concerns from public in La Crosse, much like in Austin, highlight the human desire for more conclusive explanation of when tragedies seem to follow a pattern. The Rainy Street Ripper theories, counter theories. In Austin, the perceived patterns of male drownings near Rainy Street has given rise to a highly circulated Rainy Street Ripper theory. This theory suggests that a serial killer is targeting men leaving bars on Rainy Street, perhaps drugging them and disposing their bodies in Lady Bird Lake. Several sub-theories fall under this umbrella. Date rape, drugs, and predation. One prominent theory suggests that victims are drugged, rendering them incapacitated and vulnerable to robbery or worse. Now, that is a very popular theory for a number of reasons. These are all before being dumped into the lake. This aligns with concerns about individuals being targeted for theft after being drugged on Rainy Street. The lure of the water. Another idea suggests that a perpetrator might be luring disoriented or intoxicated individuals towards the lake, perhaps under false pretenses with fatal consequences. Organized crime cover-up. More speculative theories suggest a deeper conspiracy, including organized crime or even a deliberate cover-up by authorities to avoid public panic or damaged reputation for Austin's tourism. Austin relies on their tourism. That's all there is to it. Austin is the live music capital of the United States. That's what its nickname is. People come here for all the music festivals and shit, like South by Southwest. There's a bunch more, and that is the only one coming to mind. But I know that's a big one. So if people are running around killing people at Lady Bird Lake, they're not going to want to come to Austin to see the music festivals. So that would be a good reason to cover it up. Despite the widespread public belief in Rainy Street Ripper, the Austin Police Department has consistently and firmly denied the existence of a serial killer. The official stance is that no evidence of foul play. Investigations not yielded evidence of trauma, struggle, or signs of foul play in the vast majority of these cases. Now, that alone is bullshit. One of the cases that comes to mind immediately off the top of my head, is I think it's Martin Gutierrez is the one that comes to mind. They have proof. The family has seen the proof where he was hit in the head with a blunt object. Yet, no sign of foul play. Sounds a little suspicious to me. Contributing factors. They emphasize that the deaths are largely attributed to a combination of alcohol consumption, the inherent dangers of the lake, including difficult entry and exit points, cold water, and strong currents. That's another thing that brings to mind. A lot of these deaths are happening in December, January, and February. Who the fuck is going out swimming in that time of year, even in Texas? Even in Texas, that would be cold. And too cold to swim, at least. You know what I mean? Varied circumstances. While victims share some demographics, the APD asserts that the exact circumstances, location, and timings of the incidents vary, precluding a clear pattern of inactive or a single indicative. Jesus, Robin. A clear pattern indicative of a single perpetrator. Conclusion. The enduring mystery. The Lady Bird Lake drownings in Austin, Texas, stand as a poignant example of how a series of tragic events, even without definitive evidence and foul play, can ignite widespread speculation and serial killer theories within a community. The parallels to similar clusters of drownings in the other states where the smiley face killer theories have also emerged underscore a broader societal unease and unexplained deaths, particularly when young, vulnerable individuals are involved. While the Austin Police Department continues to dismiss the Rainy Street Ripper theory, citing a lack of evidence and pointing to accidental circumstances, the public persistence in believing a more sinister explanation highlights the disconnect between official narratives and community perception. This is often fueled by understandable desire for clear answers, and that's one of the biggest problems. These family members want clear answers of what happened to their family members, what happened to their sons, their nephews, their brothers, their husbands, whatever. Clear answers. The emotional impact of such strategies and the power of social media amplify theories until irrefutable evidence emerges to definitely explain each individual death. The murky waters of Lady Bird Lake will likely continue to harbor both tragic realities of accidental drownings and the enduring shadow of Rainey Street Ripper in the public imagination. Now, as I've already said, there's several cases where people were out partying with friends, and somehow they ended up, like there was one of the cases, the guy went to the bathroom and never came back, and ended up dead in the lake. Really? And you don't think that's not shady? There was, like I said, there was Martin Gutierrez. He was out with friends. He had one drink, went to one bar, had one drink, went to the second bar, left the second bar, and was found dead. One drink. One fucking drink. And he was like 25 years old. No, there's something going on. And like I said, it's not just happening here. It's happening in other states as well. I'm covering here because, first of all, this state happens to have the most deaths. I think we've got 18 just in 2.5 years. I think Wisconsin had like 8 over 7 years. Pennsylvania's was like 11 or something. Chicago's had a few. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying those deaths are less important. I'm just saying that 18 over 2.5 years is a big difference between 8 over 4 years or whatever it was. Now let's go over some of the victims. If you'll let me find this real quick, bear with me. And this is just a few of the victims. This obviously is not going to be all the victims. Do I still have that on the victims? While it is important to clarify that the Rainey Street Ripper is a theory or a public speculation, not an officially recognized serial killer by the Austin Police Department, the APD maintains that there is no evidence of a serial killer responsible for drownings in Lady Bird Lake. I disagree with that completely. I have been following this for the last 2.5 years, and I disagree with that completely. There's too many stories of too many men that had, like I said, and there's been a lot of suspicions of, all these are happening around the holiday. A lot of these are happening in the colder months, December, January, February. In the colder months, especially around the holidays, there are these places that offer free cab rides, and that's one of the suspects. In almost every one of these men had been to a food truck. Maybe somebody in a food truck. Maybe it's a bartender. Maybe it's a network of people. I don't know. But I do not believe 18 men died in 2.5 years, and they were all accidents. However, the Rainey Street Ripper theory gained traction due to the pattern of unexplained drownings in Lady Bird Lake, particularly involving young to middle-aged males who were last seen or near Rainey Street. Many of these cases are officially ruled accidental drownings, often with contributing factors like alcohol, but families and public often suspect foul play due to the reoccurring nature of these incidents and some similarities. A lot of them are almost identical. While not all bodies found in Lady Bird Lake are connected to the Rainey Street area, the following are some of the individuals whose deaths have been fueled by the Rainey Street Ripper speculation due to the connections of the Rainey Street Ripper nightlife. Rainey Street is a really popular area in Austin. It's a popular little bar area where you got lots of bars up and down Rainey Street. You got a lot of college kids that like to hang out there and party. Martin Gutierrez, in 2018, his body was found in the lake. His family believes he was drugged while on a night out. Christian Pugh, 2019, found barely alive in Lady Bird Lake after a night out on Rainey Street. His family believes he was assaulted and thrown into the lake. Ricky Parks, 2022, one of several men found in the lake in 2022. Christopher Gutierrez, no relation to Martin Gutierrez. Also among these found in 2022. Josu Moreno, while initially part of the cluster, a man was later charged with his murder, so it doesn't count within these. Jason John, 2023, went missing after a night out with friends and was found dead in the lake. His death was later ruled an accidental drowning. Clifton Axtell, 2023, his body was found, and a medical examiner could not determine the cause of death. Jonathan Honey, 2023, was in town for a bachelor party, went missing, was later found in the lake. His death was ruled an accidental drowning. Christopher Hayes Clark, his body was also discovered in the lake. It's important to reiterate that for the most part of these cases, the official ruling by Austin Police Department and Travis County Medical Examiner have been ruled as an accidental drowning, often citing alcohol as a contributing factor, or undetermined cause of death in the Rainey Street Ripper theory stems from public perception of a pattern and desire for more definitive. I don't think it just stems from perception and whatever. It stems from people not having answers to why 18 men have come up missing in 2.5 fucking years. That's where it comes from. It doesn't come from, we just don't pull this shit out of thin air and go, well, this is what happened. No. It happens because it's just too many. One death is too many, but 18 of them in a 2.5 year time span is just an astonishing amount. 3 of them in, okay, one a year. I wouldn't look twice at it. 1 a year for 3 years, wouldn't even consider it. Three pip. 2 a year, probably wouldn't bat an eye. That would be 6. 3 a year, be 9. You know what I'm saying? It starts to get a little bit more suspicious when you got 18 of them in 3 years, 2.5 or 3 years. That's a lot of men. That's a lot of men. A lot of men. So you're trying to tell me that in a 2.5 year time span, 18 men were out partying, staggered about a mile up Rainey Street to the trail. About another half mile down a trail, and then fell into a lake. They did this in January, December, February. They did this around midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. One of them is not really connected to these because it was, oh wait a minute, one of them is not really connected because in my opinion it's an obvious murder. But they called it suicide. And let me tell you, I don't remember the guy's name. I don't remember his name. And it happened many, many years ago. This is how incompetent this is. Pay attention to these. One of them was found. His hands were bound and taped behind his back. His feet were bound and taped together. His mouth was taped shut. His eyes were taped shut. And they said it was suicide. Let that sink in for a minute. His hands were bound behind his back. His feet were bound together. His mouth was taped shut. And his eyes were taped shut. And they called it suicide. What the fuck did this man do? Tape his eyes shut. Tape his mouth shut. Tape his feet together. Tape his hands behind his back somehow. Don't ask me how he got that one done. And then hopped into the lake. Hopped in, then rolled in or whatever. And that was suicide? And they said it was suicide because he had bouts of depression. He might have had bouts of depression. He may have considered suicide. But I can almost guarantee you that man did not tape his hands behind his back, tape his legs together, tape his eyes shut and his mouth shut, and then hopped into the lake. This is the dumbest shit I've seen. And I get Austin for wanting to protect their reputation because we do rely on tourism. Austin, I was watching a report on TV 2 or 3 days ago about Austin, Texas being one of the fastest growing cities in modern history. Like, people are just moving to Austin, Texas in fucking groves. And so I get it. And like I said, we're known for music festivals and live music capital. And we got South by Southwest, and we got Austin City Limits, and there's probably 5 or 6 more that I can't even think of. The one that happened on 4th of July, the Willie Nelson concert, the Willie Nelson 4th of July picnic is what they call it. It's a music festival. It's just for one day, but it is a music festival. He performs. You get guests that performs. There's live bands that show up and perform. It's a music festival, but it's one day. It's the entire freaking day. Now, it's not on Rainy Street, but it is in the Austin area where a lot of this stuff is happening. My point is, so because all these things happen, I can get them wanting to, not scare people because if they would lose the tourism, they would lose money. I could get them trying to keep mouth shut for many reasons. But that's why we need to talk about this. So if you're watching this video and you know somebody that would be interested in this, please share this with them. I really want more eyes on this story. I really believe that if we work together, we might be able to solve this. It's not been able to be solved in years. Maybe we can solve this. I don't know. But I think it's worth a shot. So if you know anybody that might find this interesting, please share it with them. I want more people to know about this. And that's another thing. This is not getting the media coverage that it should. It's not. I know people that live in Austin that have never heard of it. It needs more attention. So I want everybody, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you know somebody that you think would be interested in this case, hit the share button. Subscribe that way and hit the little notification bell. That way when I do something stupid, you'll know about it. Because I'm always doing something stupid. But yeah, get more eyes on this. Let's get more people on this. Let's talk about this in the comments. Let's get this fired up because I'll tell you what, the more I think about it, the madder it makes me. And yeah, I do occasionally cover other stuff, like the Menendez brothers and things like that. But most of the night on Friday nights, we cover this. We don't just cover Austin, though. We cover some of the other lakes, cities, and states that it's happened in. It's not just Austin. Austin just has the biggest amount. And I kind of get that. Austin has more people per capita than these other states. So again, I get why the number would be higher. But still, that's just a lot of people. So let's get this out there. Let's get the information out there, all right? In the meantime, if it's your birthday and I've missed it, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary and I missed it, happy anniversary. I want y'all to be, make good decisions. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. Please, by all means, get this out there. Let's work on this, all right? Y'all have a beautiful, blessed night, and I will see you back on Wednesday.